This video is brought to you by Meeting.ai, a powerful AI transcription tool which was instrumental in my research for this video, but more on them later. In the history of business, we've probably never seen a brand decline as rapidly and as spectacularly as Tesla. Just a couple years ago, Tesla was beloved by environmentalists and tech enthusiasts alike, who viewed it as one of the most innovative companies in the world. As of 2025, a stale product lineup and increasing controversy around Elon Musk has turned the brand toxic. When Tesla released its second quarter earnings results, the numbers were nothing short of catastrophic. In the second quarter, Tesla delivered 384,000 vehicles, a decline of 13.5% versus the year-ago period. Tesla segregates their delivery numbers into two categories. The first category includes the Models 3 and Y. The second category includes the Models S, X, and Cybertruck, which are all significantly more expensive than the 3 and Y. Deliveries in this second segment declined 52% to just 10,000. In other words, the Cybertruck has become a commercial failure, generating almost no sales. Deliveries did increase from the first quarter, but that's just because the second quarter is always stronger than the first quarter. Automobile sales are seasonally weakest in the first quarter. In the Western world, it's right after the holiday season. A lot of people avoid making big purchases in the first quarter because they need some time to recover from their holiday shopping. In China, people celebrate the Lunar New Year during the first quarter, and they typically don't make large purchases during that period. In the first quarter of 2025, Tesla's sales declined 13% compared to the year-ago period. So on a year-over-year basis, Tesla's delivery numbers were even worse in the second quarter. In the first quarter, many Tesla bulls blamed the poor sales numbers on the changeover to the Model Y Juniper. Some customers may have delayed their purchases until the Juniper came out towards the end of the first quarter. The Juniper was available during the entirety of the second quarter, so this excuse no longer holds water. It's now undeniable that Tesla is facing waning demand globally. As Tesla's business deteriorates, Elon Musk is either unwilling or unable to acknowledge reality. On May 20th, he gave an interview to Bloomberg that was frankly surreal.
Because if we start with Tesla, the company has suffered in recent months what you've called blowback. So what is your plan for turning that around, the declining sales picture, and by what stage do you think you're going to be able to turn it around?
Oh, it's already turned around.
Give me some evidence for that. I've just been looking at the sales figures for Europe in April, which show very significant declines in the big markets.
Europe is our weakest market. We're strong everywhere else. No, our sales are doing well at this point. We don't anticipate any meaningful sales shortfall, and obviously the stock market recognizes that, since we're now back over $1 trillion in market cap. So clearly the market is aware of the situation. So it's already turned around.
But sales still down compared to this time last year?
In Europe.
In Europe, okay. And
yes, but that's true of all manufacturers. There's no exceptions.
Nothing that Elon Musk said was true. Everything he said was false. Tesla's sales are declining in all three of their major markets, North America, Europe, and China. Musk said that all automakers are seeing their sales decline in Europe without exception. In reality, the Volkswagen Group, which is the largest EV maker in Europe, saw its deliveries increase 73% in the second quarter. As Tesla's deliveries have fallen, so too is their revenue and profits. In the second quarter, their revenue declined by 12% to $22.5 billion. Their operating profit declined 43% to $923 million. Despite the disastrous numbers, Tesla's stock price only declined marginally after the earnings were announced. The company still enjoys a market capitalization in excess of $1 trillion. To understand why that is the case, we have to analyze what Elon Musk told investors during the earnings conference call. Tesla's earnings call was over an hour long, including the Q&A session. To stay up to date in the fast-paced financial markets, it's imperative to parse through these long earnings calls as quickly as possible. That's why I use Meeting.ai, which is also the sponsor of today's video. I just put in the URL of the earnings call. It quickly transcribes the entire call and creates a summary going over the key points, which you can read in a few minutes. If you want to read this Meeting.ai transcript yourself, you can click the link in the description below. You can also claim a 40% discount on all of their plans. In the summary, we can see that Elon Musk emphasized the commercial launch of their Robotaxi service in Austin, Texas. They plan to rapidly expand the Robotaxi network by year-end. He also detailed progress on their Optimus humanoid robot. Tesla expects the next few quarters to be rough, but eventually they hope to make huge profits from their Robotaxi and Optimus robot, which they say will turn Tesla into the world's most valuable company. So Tesla says, don't worry about the fact that our core business is collapsing. We're on the verge of making massive profits with robotaxis and Optimus. Despite Tesla's long history of overpromising and underdelivering, it seems that many investors still believe in this narrative. In addition to providing the summary, Meeting.ai also breaks the transcript into sections. Let's look at the vehicle autonomy and FSD section. Tesla continues to make absurd claims about the safety of its autonomous driving software. Tesla claims that its cars with full self-driving are 10 times safer than those without. On the right side here, Meeting.ai gives a full transcript, so we can analyze the exact wording. Tesla's CFO Vaibhav Taneja said, quote, "We published our vehicle safety report earlier today. You can see a car on FSD is 10 times safer than a car not on FSD, unquote." There are a few major problems with what he said. Let's look at the vehicle safety report he's referring to. It says that in the second quarter, Tesla recorded one crash for every 6.69 million miles driven in which drivers were using autopilot technology. For drivers who are not using autopilot technology, we recorded one crash for every 963,000 miles driven. By comparison, the most recent data available shows that in the US, there was an automobile crash approximately every 702,000 miles. The vehicle safety report only discloses crash rate data for autopilot, which is not the same thing as FSD. The crash rate for Teslas using autopilot is about 7 times less than the crash rate for Teslas not using autopilot. Mr. Taneja's statement about FSD safety is completely false. Nothing about it is true. Tesla does not publish any crash rate data for FSD. It's important to note that this statement comes from Taneja's prepared remarks. It's inexcusable that he would conflate FSD with autopilot. It might sound like I'm nitpicking, but there's a huge difference. Full self-driving works on city streets, while autopilot is typically used only on highways. On highways, you drive much faster, and there are far fewer turns and generally no intersections. Because of this, the crash rate per mile is far lower on highways than on city streets. So when Tesla says that its crash rate on autopilot is far lower than the national average, this tells us absolutely nothing because it's comparing apples to oranges. Comparing the crash rate of FSD to the national average would be a much more fair comparison because FSD can drive on both highways and city streets. But conveniently, Tesla does not disclose FSD crash rate data and only discloses autopilot. There's an even more fundamental flaw with Tesla's self-published crash rate data. We first have to understand how Tesla records its own crash rate. According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, or NHTSA, Tesla largely receives data for crashes only with pyrotechnic deployment. That means airbag deployment. All Tesla cars are connected to the internet over cellular data. Thus, Tesla can see when an airbag is deployed and records this as a crash. However, if the car is not within range of cellular data, or if the antenna is damaged during the crash, Tesla will not know about the crash. Let's go back to the vehicle safety report. Tesla claims that Tesla cars without autopilot engaged get into one crash every 963,000 miles. This is better than the national average of one crash for every 702,000 miles. This implies that Tesla drivers are better on average, even without autopilot engaged. But where does Tesla get this 702,000 number? According to the NHTSA, in 2023 there were 4.6 million vehicles involved in police-reported crashes where at least one vehicle was towed from the crash scene. According to the Department of Transportation, in that same year, a total of 3.3 trillion miles were driven by all cars in the US. Tesla divided these two numbers to get one crash for every 702,000 miles. Not all of these crashes resulted in an airbag deployment. For example, if your car is rear-ended, typically your airbags will not deploy. But if at least one of the cars has to be towed away, this would be included in the NHTSA's data. If a Tesla is rear-ended, this crash does not show up in Tesla's data because the airbag was not deployed. Tesla is systematically undercounting the number of crashes its cars are involved in. And remember that even if the airbag is deployed, the antenna is often damaged, and this doesn't get recorded either. Tesla claims that its cars get into fewer crashes than average, but we know that Tesla's data is faulty. LendingTree compiles insurance claims data to calculate the crash rate of all car brands in the United States. They found that Teslas have the highest crash rate of any brand in the country. In terms of the Robotaxi rollout, it's currently only available in a limited area in Austin, Texas, and is restricted to roads with speed limits less than 40 miles per hour. Within weeks, they plan to expand the geographic limit within Austin. They also hope to soon launch in the San Francisco Bay Area, Nevada, Arizona, and Florida, pending regulatory approval. Currently, the Robotaxi is generating immaterial revenue. The revenue will become significant by the end of 2026. So let's see how the Austin Robotaxi rollout is really going. Tesla began offering paid Robotaxi rides in Austin, Texas in June. It is currently limited to about 10 Robotaxis and is restricted to a geofenced portion of Austin, Texas that has favorable road and traffic conditions. The robotaxis currently use Tesla Model Ys, not the dedicated robotaxi vehicles unveiled last year. Each robotaxi has a safety monitor sitting in the passenger seat who can intervene and take control of the car at any time. Tesla also employs teleoperators who monitor the robotaxis remotely. The service is currently invite-only. In the beginning, they mostly invited pro-Tesla influencers who largely gave favorable reviews of the service. Despite the small scale of the robotaxi operations, we have already seen serious safety concerns. A YouTuber called Tesla Daily was invited to try the robotaxi. The robotaxi is heading towards an intersection in the left turn only lane. Once it enters the intersection, it behaves erratically. Instead of taking a left turn, it goes straight forward. It ends up driving on the wrong side of the road, which is for obvious reasons a very dangerous thing to do. Interestingly, the human safety monitor did not intervene. So what went wrong? Presumably, the robotaxi was not aware it was driving on the wrong side of the road. The fact that it didn't understand the road layout is pretty shocking, considering the fact that it can only operate in a geofenced area that is presumably pre-mapped. The NHTSA has opened an investigation into Tesla regarding the safety of their robotaxis. In the earnings call, Elon Musk said, quote, "We're getting regulatory permission to launch in the Bay Area, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, and a number of other places," unquote. But is this really the case? Let's start off with the San Francisco Bay Area, where Google-owned Waymo has already been operating paid robotaxi rides for more than a year. According to TechCrunch, Tesla has not received approval from the California Public Utilities Commission to offer autonomous passenger service to customers, paid or unpaid, with or without a driver. Tesla also doesn't hold a driver pilot AV permit, so it cannot even use an autonomous vehicle with a human operator behind the wheel for passenger service. This means that if Tesla deploys its robotaxis and the autonomous systems are engaged, it will be violating state regulations, even if the rides are free and there is a human safety operator behind the wheel. Tesla is indeed planning to launch a taxi service in San Francisco in the coming weeks, but it's not going to be a real robotaxi service. It's going to be a chauffeur-style service. A Tesla employee will be behind the wheel at all times. They will activate the full self-driving software. It won't technically be a robotaxi. The human driver behind the wheel will not be a safety driver. He will be the primary driver. He just happens to be using FSD, which is a driver assistance feature. For example, let's suppose you own a Tesla and purchase the FSD package. You could sign up to become an Uber driver. You can use FSD during your Uber rides, but this does not make you a robotaxi. This is basically what Tesla is planning to do. Now let's move on to the Optimus humanoid robot. Tesla is currently working on the third version of Optimus, and they plan to have a prototype in late 2025. They intend to begin scale production in 2026. Tesla claims Optimus robots currently perform tasks at Tesla's factories and appear at the Tesla diner. Tesla has a long history of misleading the public about the capabilities of its Optimus robot. The Optimus is supposed to be powered by its own artificial intelligence. At their Robotaxi unveil event in October of 2024, they had Optimus robots pouring drinks and handing out gift bags. It was later exposed that the robots did not use artificial intelligence. They were remotely controlled by human operators. Tesla has published some highly choreographed videos of Optimus robots walking around its factories, but it's very difficult to get a sense of their true capabilities from these videos alone. In addition to taking questions from Wall Street analysts, Tesla also answers questions submitted by retail investors. Let's listen to one retail investor's question about Optimus.
The next question is, what specific factory tasks is Optimus currently performing, and what is the expected timeline for scaling production to enable external sales? How does Tesla envision Optimus contributing to revenue the next 2 to 3 years?
So the Optimus 3 design, as I mentioned earlier, is, I think, finally the right design. There will be further optimizations, but there are no fundamental changes that are needed for the Optimus 3 design. It has all the degrees of freedom that you really want or need. We'll have prototypes of that in, 3 months, and then start tooling up production. We'll certainly start production on that in the beginning of next year. The production ramp is difficult. It's always difficult to predict the S-curve of a production ramp when something has got when everything is new, because the rate of production will move as fast as the least lucky and least competent element of the entire supply chain, as well as in internal processes. So the more new stuff that is in a product, the slower the ramp could be because of unexpected supply chain interruptions or mistakes made internally. It's much easier to predict sort of the end of the S curve or late in the S curve than the beginning of the S curve. And the beginning of the S curve of the production ramp is in any case not really material for revenue purposes. The beginning of the S curve, you're usually not usually you're always negative gross margin, and you're debugging a lot of issues. So that's why like I feel like fairly confident in predicting things, or at least medium confident in predicting where we are in 5 years, but it's hard to predict where we are in a year or 2 years. So that's why I think 5 years. I think we could be at the. Let me put this way: I'd be surprised if at the end of 5 years, 60 months from now, if we are not roughly making 100,000 Optimus robots a month in 60 months, I would be shocked.
Musk treats us to a 2-minute word salad where he completely fails to answer the very specific question. It's probably safe to assume that the Optimus currently is not doing anything significantly useful at Tesla's factories. If it was, Musk would be able to just tell us. There's only one thing we know for sure that Optimus is doing. In July, Tesla opened up a diner at one of its supercharger stations in Hollywood. An Optimus robot serves popcorn to customers. I would not at all be surprised if this is remotely controlled by a human operator, just like was the case at last year's Robotaxi unveil event. Despite Tesla's disastrous financial and operational performance, it retains a market capitalization in excess of $1 trillion, making it the most valuable automobile company in the world by far. Many on Wall Street seem to believe Tesla's utopian claims about the trillions of dollars they eventually expect to generate from Robotaxi and Optimus. But why should you believe anything Tesla says when the company has been proven to lie about almost everything? Elon Musk says deliveries are increasing when they are in fact decreasing. The CFO makes absurd claims about FSD being 10 times safer than unassisted driving, even as the company refuses to disclose any crash rate data for FSD. And we're just supposed to trust that the Optimus robots are working in Tesla factories, but Elon Musk can't tell us a single specific thing they're actually doing. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Tesla? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to check out Meeting.ai, link in the description below. Thanks again to Meeting.ai for sponsoring this video.